All right, today we're going to be talking about management information systems, and today we have Professor Russ Finney and Professor Clint Tuttle. Professors, if you wouldn't mind starting off by please introducing yourself by your name and what you teach.
Okay. Well, my name's Russ Finney, and I teach a couple of classes, MIS 301, which is the Introduction to Management Information Systems. It's a core class, so all students of all majors take it. And it's great because I get to meet a lot of students. It's a little bit larger class, and I usually teach multiple sections. So it's fantastic to get to know so many students across the entire school. And then at the very end of our degree program, there's another class called MIS 375, and that's this capstone class for MIS. And that's more focused on strategic side of the learning, and have been teaching that class for, I'm in my 5th year of teaching that one. I love that class.
And my name is Clint Tuttle. I'm an alumni of the program, and I have been here. This is 11 years now for me. And started out teaching the Intro IT Management course that Russ spoke of. And then I moved further into the core curriculum. So now I get students who are minoring and majoring in MIS, and I teach a kind of an introduction to databases. That's where you learn to start programming with SQL and other languages to get data out of databases. So primarily it's about 2/3 majors, but we have about 1/3 of people in there who are minoring. And then some people who just want to take it for the technology and the skill. So we'll have marketing and finance people in that course too. And then later on, I teach one of the final classes that you take as an MIS major, which is the MIS 374. So MIS actually has 2 capstone classes. One is on the strategic side that Russ is speaking of, and the other is on kind of how do we put our application of everything we've done in this program to use for actually working with a business or organization that needs IT system work done. And so that's where we're teaching you what's called the software development lifecycle, agile software development principles, and you get to learn how to gather requirements, plan out a system, and build it on a team for an actual organization. So it's a practicum, which at times I know 375 can be that way too, where you actually work with a real organization to do a project. I also teach another couple of classes in the MS ITM program, and I'm building a class for MSBA, but it all relates to data and building stuff. So it's kind of what I do.
Next, could you please tell us a brief overview of the MIS major, and are there any recent departmental or curriculum updates that you think students should know about?
So an overview of the major in MIS, what this course was always about, or what this program was really all about, was getting people to understand not just technology, but specifically information technology, right? So that is how we store information, transmit information, retrieve information, analyze information, and therefore it kind of allows you to go in a lot of directions. You could go in a more, system-related path where you're designing and building systems. And again, you could be a business analyst, or maybe you're a developer. You could also take a very analytical route, right? Which is just where we're analyzing data and we're not building systems, but we're looking at the output of that data. We also could go kind of an entrepreneurial route. You could go a strategic consulting route. So MIS was one of these places that's kind of right in the middle of engineering and business. And therefore, it kind of takes you in a lot of places. Now, I would say that a big thing that has happened just in the business school is that we have the business analytics major. And what that's going to allow students who were currently wanting to take an analytics route, they can now go straight to analytics and be BAX. And I know a lot of students who are doing that, and they're also going to minor in MIS. But what that's going to allow us to do is focus MIS. You can still have some analytics experience. We have electives in analytics, social media content, user, data mining, all of that. But now, with MIS, what you're going to learn is how to program, how to use databases, how to build web applications, how do we actually put all that together. But you're also learning strategy of IT and how you assess IT and implement it in a business. So it's really, I think it's going to be more focused on how we utilize IT in an organization for value. And that's what MIS is going to be all about. And then you can still get some analytics experience. But if you want to if you don't want to build stuff, if you don't want to create systems, you just want to consume data all day long and do cool stuff, analytical stuff with data, then I think that's where analytics is going to allow you to go even deeper in that topic. So that's kind of the just division there to make clear. The other thing to note is that I would say it's probably been 5 or 6 years. But we had a big revision that happened in our degree program, probably around, I guess it was about 5 or 6 years ago. But what we did was we changed the language we were teaching in our intro programming class. We changed the platform that we're using in our web app development class. We also added a considerable amount of topics into the database class. So I would, and we've also just made a lot of revisions in our capstone classes. Now we have people like Russ who have practical experience, from industry. You're coming in and teaching that course but it's still based in theory and foundational knowledge. Yep. And then on the 374 side, the system side, we're really heavy focused on agile principles, which is kind of the leading way to build stuff. So I would say that our program went through a major revision, and we're still kind of doing really well with that revision. We're always just incrementally improving things as we go.
All right, our next question. I'd love to know what types of people are well suited for this major. Are there any common characteristics of students that you've seen do well in this major?
Honestly, I feel like the question is probably trying to lead me to find the common statistic, common characteristic. I don't know if there is a common characteristic, and I think that's a good thing. I think if we kind of approach MIS with this idea that, well, the people who tend to do well in this course are people who've had programming experience, then we're going to actually turn away a lot of great candidates. Mm-hmm. I think if you have no programming experience, it's completely okay. We expect that you have had no programming experience when you start the program. So even if you've written no line of code, and people think, well, all these kids have written code today in high school. No, I mean, truth is a large percentage of students have never done it. And that's okay. So I think that, the common characteristics that you'll come out with are going to be that you are resilient, because when you use technology, when you write code, it breaks a lot, and you have to be patient, and you have to be thorough, and you have to be good at going on the exploration of what went wrong, how do I fix it, how do I problem solve. And I think that's one of the things that anybody who knows how to write some code or to use technology, you're a problem solver. Because not that technology is problematic, but when we implement it, humans are the flawed people. And when we're using it, we make mistakes with it. So therefore you get good at fixing things, and you get good at problem solving, and you get good at like adversity, dealing with it, resilience. So I think that's the common characteristic you come out with. I don't think that we're looking for one type of student. If anything, I think anybody can do this.
Yeah, I totally agree. I always think about it a little bit from the perspective of, okay, some people like to have a repetitive, well-known kind of I get very skilled at something, and I'm going to use it over and over and over and over again, and it's and I'm very comfortable and happy. And so I always think of somebody like a bank teller, for example. That job doesn't change. You are there, you're helping customers, you've got banking systems, and it's kind of the same thing over and over and over, very repetitively. You get very, very skilled with a certain set of things. MIS people tend to be, and I'm going to pick up what Clint mentioned, is problem solvers. So we tend to, okay, here's a new situation and kind of new opportunities, and we tend to be a little bit on the creative side. So we're going to create a new way of doing something. And it takes kind of a thoughtful, discipline, kind of working your way to a new outcome or a new solution type of person that perseveres, just like what you were saying, Clint, where you really got tenacity that but you take a lot of pleasure in the outcome and reaching the solution, reaching the end. And so it's a very project kind of oriented. And that's what we do, a lot of projects in our classes all the way through. You end up in project teams. It's made to keep that fostering that team approach to things. So some people think of MIS people as other programmers and they work by themselves. That's not really what we're doing at all at McCombs. It's more technical solution people that work together, collaborate. We work on complicated things, and it's fun, just like what you said, Clint, solving puzzles. So if you're more in that type of mentality, this might be a really good place for you that you really may thrive.
I feel like we've touched on this just briefly in your previous answers, but I was wondering if we could go into a little deeper on some potential career paths that you've seen students pursue with this major.
Well, I can speak to some, and Russ, jump in.
Okay.
I think all the business majors have a propensity or ability to go into the world of consulting. And that is one path, but it's not the only path. With technology, you have to think about, you can go into any career path where technology, specifically information technology, is involved. So information technology is ubiquitous. It's in everything that we do. Every industry is using it. So therefore, there's not a limit to like, well, you can only take on this kind of role, or you're going to do this kind of, you're going to be, if you're a lawyer, you're going to be in a courtroom, or you're going to be writing legal documents, or whatever it is, like, with technology, like we're learning here, you could go into industry, and any industry, right? It's not like only the airline industry is using information technology. Everything, financial services, medical, government, high tech, retail, products, consumer goods, all that stuff. So all those companies are leveraging information technology, not only just to run their companies and do the day-to-day operations, but also to like get a competitive advantage. So they're, building apps, they're doing data analytics. So anything that we can leverage IT for any purpose, whether it's just to run the business, or to excel or grow, or beat our competition, or just to help a nonprofit meet their mission better, you're set to go into those industries. And then on the consulting side, there's strategy consulting, which we do IT strategy in this course, in this program. There's managerial consulting, which, if you noticed, management is one of the words in management information systems. Mm-hmm. So people go into management consulting. There's also tech consulting, which is clearly going to be something you could do. So I would say any of the consultings, any of the industry side of things, and then within any of those areas, you could go into analytics, you can go into software development. Some people go and take the entrepreneurial route. Some people, So I think that's probably a good place to say. It sounds like a generalist answer. It sounds like a copping out and just saying, oh, you can do everything with it. But the truth is, we're probably not going to generate a lot of like courtroom attorneys out of the MIS major, because, that's not what we do. But anything that is leveraging information technology, it's a great place to, it's going to send you.
Yeah, I've kind of got it categorized in my mind now, because I'm spending a lot of time talking with our recruiters and our recruiting centers. And then consulting, that's for sure. We've got large professional service firms, and they're looking for students with the skill sets that we teach. And in fact, we're their number one target. University of Texas, number one target for the large professional services firms. And over half our students end up going to work for those firms. We're just a rich source of talent for them. It's incredible. But I also found a lot of companies there that were industries, the second thing that Clint mentioned. So it's kind of like the airlines, the energy companies, the retailers. I saw big ones there, Walmart, Amazon. And then we had our locals, HEB and others. And then, of course, ConocoPhillips and Valero, and quite a few from all over. Saw a lot of the big banking as well, but they're looking for people to come in their IT departments and either be analysts or programmers, or there's many different pathways, security professionals. But I would put a third group in as well, and that was my conversations with technology product firms. And they're not only looking for the ones mentioned before, but they're also looking for sales engineers. And that's a little bit different role, but our students are suited for that one as well. I'd probably put, Stacy, you're gonna know better than me, but I would put it at maybe 20% that students go out and they join the sales teams of companies like Oracle or Microsoft or Dell or others, and they're providing support for the products themselves. So working with customers, it's almost a little bit of marketing, but really highly technical marketing, working in a sales engineering role. And so that puts another layer of flexibility in. So I don't really want to consult, but man, helping with this product or becoming an expert on a product and helping their customers use it, that appeals to me. So I would add that one in there as well as a third one.
Yeah. And you think about, why is it that an MIS person wouldn't be the one just implementing or applying the technology? Why are you selling it? And the truth is, it's not that any person who can sell a lot of people think, oh, if you're a good salesperson, you can sell anything, but you can't sell something you don't know, right? And you can't even be a financial analyst and decide, oh, well, should we invest in the cloud if you don't know what the cloud is, right? So I think it's you don't see Oracle going out there and just saying, well, let's talk to people who have great personalities and we'll teach them all the technology. It's really nice when you can take, MIS, people who've learned how to present, they know how to work with teams, they understand good communication, all that stuff, the soft skills and the interpersonal skills, but they also know how to, do more than talk the talk, right? They know how to actually implement the technology stuff. So I think that's why Oracle and Microsoft and all those companies definitely want technologist first, salesperson second, I would say, or maybe it's a mix, but yeah, for sure.
I was wondering if you could tell me about some common misconceptions that you hear about the management information systems major.
Russ, do you have any, you want to go first on this one?
That we're all a bunch of nerds. Maybe that would be the number one out of the box. And I totally disagree with that. Sometimes, the question comes up, is this all about programming, or am I going to be a programmer, or I'm not really, that's not my thing as being a programmer. Some students are surprised when they get in programming, they actually love it. Like, I thought I wasn't gonna like it, but you know what? I love doing this. And others are like, no, I knew I wouldn't like it. And yeah, guess what? I still really don't. That's not me. But if you really want to be deep programming, sometimes a better way to go is our engineering school, because we've got computer science and they go deep on programming. But we have a lot of engineering students that come over and do business classes along with us because they want to be a little bit more rounded. And then vice versa, we have students that want to go even more technical than maybe what we offer at McCombs, and they'll go over and they'll take some of those engineering classes. But I think a professional services firm like the caliber that recruits at our school, the McKinseys, Accentures, KPMGs, those sort of things, they're hiring very professional people that can present themselves and that are social and that are good communicators. And that's just a well-rounded business person. So I think that's really what we focus on here. It's not being a nerd in MIS.
Well, and I think the word nerd is subjective, right? So, I know finance people who are complete nerds about finance, and, talk to anybody who's into crypto right now and tell me they're not being a complete nerd about it. Like, nerd, in my opinion, is a word that we use to describe somebody who really is into something, right? And that's why there's lots of classification of nerds. So the truth is, I want students who are interested, and not just interested, but like are geeking out on it, right? And if you geek out on accounting, you should be doing accounting. If you geek out on, marketing, you shouldn't just go major in something that you think you're supposed to major in, or you think that's where the most people are. This is going to make you the most money. Unless your number one goal is, I want to go major in something where it has the most people in it. And if that's your goal, then you can align your goals to that decision. If you say, I want to go major in something that's going to make me the most money, then you can go make your decision based on that. But the reality, I think, that most of us were trying to get you to understand is, everybody here can do any one of these majors. You should pick the one you truly, really are geeking out on. The one that when you talk to people, they glaze over and go, he's talking about this again. Like, that's where you need to be, because when you wake up every day, you'll be excited to go to work and do the stuff you're doing, right? And we don't want you just to grind and wake up every day and put up with the thing that you chose.